So in my latest venture, I really combined those two, AI and healthcare. And we're
Okay.
focusing on optimizing longevity, and helping consumers better understand the opportunities for them to optimize their longevity. And that comes in many different areas. It's
Hey, this is Matt Helton with OneTrust Home Loans, your reverse mortgage experts. And you found the Serving Seniors podcast, where we highlight those businesses and those individuals that help seniors not survive, but thrive in retirement. And today we have another one of those awesome people and awesome businesses. We have Mr. Tony Medrano, and he's the CEO of LongevityPlan.AI. And he's going to share with you how he and his plan can help seniors, can help people, and help folks thrive in retirement. Tony, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Matt. Thanks for having me.
Hey, man.
Well, I'm not quite retired yet, but I am 55 and I'm thriving. So I wanted to share that.
There you go. Hey, that's awesome. Well, we would love to hear your tips and secrets and love to hear how you help others. But also, everybody wants to kind of get some background of who you are and where you're from. So maybe could you give us your story of where Tony's from and how you got to where you are today?
Great. Well, I grew up in a blue-collar suburb of Los Angeles County.
Okay.
Was a naval officer for years after college. Went to grad school up in the Bay Area and have lived really all over the U.S. Florida, New York, Massachusetts, California, a few different places. Mainly working in the technology industry as an entrepreneur. And in the med tech industry, specifically longevity, medical devices, health, for the last 10 years.
Got it. Okay, nice. Maybe share with us some of your other businesses that you've worked on and how that's led up to what you're doing today.
Yeah, my current journey really started about 10 years ago. I founded an artificial intelligence company that optimized conversations between health and wellness brands and their customers.
Okay.
This was before Chat GPT. We were working with companies like Jenny Craig. It was a well-known, weight loss and meal provider for folks. We helped them better understand their customers and wrote our own artificial intelligence models that worked to perfect that communication. This was the early days of AI.
Sure.
Spectacular adventure. I went on from there, founding that company. That was the second company that I founded. The first one was while I was in grad school. I've always been, since I was a naval officer, back in the 90s, I'd really taken the entrepreneurial route and really liked taking the initiative and, helping organizations and people better understand what's out there. And I saw artificial intelligence as a way to really help that communication. So we understood the medical related conversations that a brand like Jenny Craig was having with its clientele, and we're able to dissect those and help consumers better take care of their needs. When they were in a quick chat conversation on the web, we optimized that and got their needs boiled up to Jenny Craig so they could address the individual's health concerns better.
Got it.
From there, I went into a molecular diagnostics company that supplied home lab tests to individuals. Lots of seniors, lots of athletes, lots of executives that were traveling, people that could benefit from a home lab test, were all of those. And that was a great success. It went from 0 to $1 billion in revenue in a few years.
Okay.
I had a chance to work with the Olympic team, with the NFL, the NBA, Google, Netflix, a lot of private equity firms, some insurance companies, and large national firms that really supplied sophisticated people in need. And a lot of seniors really fit that bill. It was a great experience. I've always been into helping, veterans as well. Since I transitioned into civilian life after my military service, I found that a good opportunity to focus on, ways to help vets. And I found artificial intelligence, because of my background and healthcare, because of mostly my fitness background was a great way to do it. So in my latest adventure, I really combined those two, AI and healthcare. And we're focusing on optimizing longevity, and helping consumers better understand the opportunities for them to optimize their longevity. And that comes in many different areas. It's diet, exercise, sleep, of course, are the three pillars, but we work with peptide therapy too. And, personal one-on-one coaching, a lot of fitness. It's my background. I mean, I'm 55 and I started running triathlons when I was 48 years old.
Wow.
So later in life, I was, semi-athletic all my life, but not in the triathlon world. But I found that as a 48-year-old, I could compete because I had more discipline than a lot of the 20-year-olds out there.
Got it.
And I was able to hack the system a little better. So I found over the years since then, I've gotten a lot of questions from folks, from friends mostly. How do you keep in good shape? What are some tips about what should I be eating? How should I be exercising? How can I live longer and play with my kids and play with my grandkids and things I could help with, because I had practical experience and some of the science experience too.
Okay, nice. And then so you took your former professions, former businesses, and then your AI, stuck it all together. Maybe could you give us a couple examples of how that could help a 70-year-old, 65-year-old that's retired, that's wanting to feel better, and maybe some examples of how it could help someone that's younger but wants to really have a runway to feel better, in the next 15, 20 years?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question, Matt. So at LongevityPlan.AI, we develop customized longevity plans for individuals, and they fall in all different kinds of categories: men, women, people in their 20s to people in their 70s or 80s. A lot in between too, right? And it all has one thing in common, that it's planning a healthy way to increase their health span, their active years, and that can start when you're 20. Can start, if you want to either proactively address some things, or it can, start in your 70s when you go, oh, well, maybe I'm not able to do stuff I want to do. How do I get that back?
Okay. Yep.
Let me start with the 20-year-old first and go chronologically.
Okay. Right? Sure.
I have a 20-year-old client right now that I just started to work with. That's, he's in his mid-20s. He just graduated from college, put on about 40 pounds. We were talking and joking, and I remember the freshman 15 that I put on, maybe a little more, and then you get your job and you're in a cubicle, a less sedentary lifestyle that is not the best, but that it's almost inevitable in today's society, right? Most of us work at a desk job and need to be healthier. And there are some scientific developments out there that can help with that. It's not all diet and exercise. And what we are doing with him is prescribing him through with our medical team, custom peptide therapy plans. And I'm sure people have heard of Ozempic. It really kicked off the peptide revolution the past few years. But we have a national medical team, US-based national pharmacies, and the latest and greatest, access to the particular peptide supplements, healthcare, coaching, all of those things through our network of medical advisors and professional coaches. And we're developing the plan for him. We give him a couple prescriptions, a 90-day specific plan with coaching, and help him effectively, in his case, work off his freshman 40. Now he's, I think 26, 27, and wants to work that off because he can, he sees the future and wants to invest in it now, which is smart. And I'll throw in right now that I've lost 38 pounds in 12 weeks now. Wow. So I only really talk about things or do things that I know, and won't offer anything that I can't vouch for personally. So for me, I found such great success on this metabolic transformation program that I wanted to share with others and start this company.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So cool. Now, is it like a Matt Damon type experience? You're like, all right, I'm going to have to put on about 40 pounds So did you go on an eating binge to put it on to get it off, or was that just over the last few years?
Great question. I
Did
wish
you play
that
the
would have
role,
been
I
the
guess you could
case.
say?
Yeah, actually I had a knee injury from military service, a torn meniscus, and it would flare up. For the past 30 years, it's been a headache, and it flares up sometimes. I re-injured it, maybe a year ago, and it kept me from my exercise, and I still ate, unfortunately, like I was exercising.
Okay,
So
got it.
slowly put on about 30 pounds. And it wasn't intentional. It was just, a matter of fact, right? I think we've all been in that situation where our appetite continues, even though maybe our lifestyle or exercise doesn't. So I was just creeping up there, and I knew it was because of my knee. So I started the program, peptide therapy, to fix my knee first, reduce my inflammation, get healthier, and then a separate protocol to help drop some weight and get back into, for me, triathlon shape. So now I'm the lightest I've been since college.
Wow.
It's great, and I'm 55. Feel like I'm in the best shape of my life. I probably am pretty close. And yeah, it as opposed to it being intentional, it was very accidental. And I think something that happens to everybody after 40, especially, it's a lot easier to gain weight than it is to lose it.
Good.
Yeah, great question. Now, though, I feel like maybe Matt Damon in one of his more active movies.
There you go. Maybe the next podcast you can have a story about how you did it on purpose. You were testing out your latest product.
Exactly. I wish it was that glamorous, but it was actually super practical. So I hacked it by myself and figured out with the doctor's advice how to do this the right way for long-term health too. Since I'm a part-time athlete, I'm not doing things just to lose weight or just to look good or for the short term, right? I want to be active longer and super active. So I'm doing only the healthiest things to myself.
That's awesome. So that makes sense on the younger side. Maybe share if someone is, maybe they're 70 years old, got the aches and cricks and pains. What could the plan do for someone like that?
Exactly. So we have 10 different plans, and then we're able to customize off of those 10 different plans. A couple of them to rattle off some things that I'd say us people over 50 we like, because the majority of our clients are over 50. Our metabolic reset program, which I mentioned, also applies to a lot of folks. We have a menopause optimization plan, both for perimenopause and postmenopause.
Okay.
Women, and we have an inflammation reduction plan, as well as a longevity specific program. Now, all those have different ingredients, but the commonalities are that anybody, especially the 50, 60, 70-year-old who has, sometimes they're creaks and pains, but sometimes they're a little greater than that. The post-surgical, right? You need some repair, because one of the most dangerous things about surgery is not the surgery itself, but it's not being active. It's for weeks at a time. That's shown to decrease longevity the most. I think most of us may have heard the fact that I think after a hip injury, there's a 50% chance of mortality. And It's not because of the hip injury. It's because being inactive for that many weeks, immobile, has all these other effects with your cardiovascular system primarily. So the sedentary lifestyle, especially when it's that strict, is really bad. So we want to first fix those problems, reduce inflammation, repair post-surgery, help individuals with maybe short-term strains get those tissue repair systems back operating like they were when they were in their 20s. Because that's what peptides do. Is they're not an exogenous substance in most cases that's put into the system. They're simply signaling compounds that tell your body to make more of what it's already making, but it's making less of it at 70 than it was at 20. So these ingredients are all in in everybody's body already. They just sometimes they're at 20, 30% of what they used to be.
Okay.
It's probably a good time to mention too. I'm not a medical doctor. We have a lot of doctors on our team, and for anybody who's looking at peptides, to make sure and ask their practitioner about that, because there are certain things that aren't right for certain people, and on the other hand, there are certain peptides and other therapies that really work well for people with certain attributes too. So you can plan to optimize with our medical team. Will be glad to help you. But yeah, this is for informational purposes only, and
makes sense.
Particular medical advice, right?
So you're saying you're not a doctor, you don't even play one on TV, but you know where to find one, and you can find them quickly, and they can help.
Exactly. We have great doctors on part of our team that'll be able to help, and I'll be able to help with the coaching and the practical aspects of putting together your plan, and they'll be able to get the prescriptions to you and
perfect
monitor your exact fit for the particular compounds.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Maybe, Tony, while I'm thinking about it, could you share if someone heard something of their situation that fits with what you guys do, or maybe if they heard something that's my brother, that's my mom, that's my cousin, how would they interact with you, and how would they interact with your business?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn, and that's Tony Medrano. And there may be some other Tony Medranos, but I'll be the one wearing an Ironman, triathlon gear.
Got it. Yep.
Stand out in the picture. Or go to LongevityPlan.AI, and you'll be able to contact me personally. You'll see my calendar up there that you can schedule a meeting with, and I'll put you in touch with our medical team, our coaching team, and we'll look at things that can help you or your friend. I mean, the common attributes are somebody who's just looking to lose weight and get more energy, or somebody that has some injuries or pains that wants those relieved in a natural way, not in a way with prescription drugs that are addictive and have other types of bad side effects. The peptides are usually a great way to do this because they are naturally produced in the body already. We're just helping people reinvigorate themselves in a bunch of different ways.
Makes sense. Tony, and then do your doctors go through if someone is up in years and they're taking a lot of prescriptions? Do they go through and ask them all the different medicines they're taking just to see if anything is counteracting the other? I know that can cause a lot of challenges if the doctors don't figure out what you're taking, because it could counterbalance what you recommend.
Absolutely. Those are two of the most comprehensive things they do, is ask about what medications you're taking. And that's important to list that for exactly like you said. And the other thing they do is ask about your medical history, particularly cancer history or cancer risk, or any current instances of cancer that you're going through, because that in most cases is a risk factor that might make peptide therapy not the right thing. But I've had maybe 80% of so far my 55-year-old friend group that has come in for peptide therapy be approved by the doctor as a sample. A few not, because they put down their specific, what was going on in their life with their prescriptions and their medical history. And the doctor said, no, peptides aren't the right thing for you. So we're our team definitely screens pretty well.
Makes sense. And it sounds like it's all over Zoom, so it could be anywhere online. So meaning there's no geographical boundaries where you can help somebody.
Exactly. No geographical boundaries, except it must be in the U.S. So we serve all 50 states, and it can be done. It's all telemedicine that can be done via our website, Zoom calls if needed, but a lot of it can be done via questionnaire asynchronously. So it works great around your schedule, the individual schedule, and is very, very easy. We're designed to be senior friendly because that's who most of our clients are. And we want people to not have to view this as another job or another administrative hurdle, right? We make it so simple to get the therapy you want wherever you are, according to your time frame. Our pharmacies will drop ship the prescriptions directly to the individual, all U.S. based. So there's even chain of custody, and you're sure you're getting what comes from the United States, compounding pharmacy.
Okay, makes sense. And Tony, I'm sure there's someone out there going, man, this sounds great. I don't feel good, or my mom doesn't feel good, my brother doesn't feel good, but they don't have any money, or I'm sure this is expensive, and I'm sure the cost depends on what they give. So is it a free consultation for them to learn about the process?
There is. There's always a free consultation, and I'd say even better than that. I've committed to a few more months of giving our free longevity club workshops available to anybody. So we have Monday through Friday at 9 a.m., noon, and 3 p.m. Pacific time. Free 30-minute workshops on all areas of longevity: science, fitness, nutrition, even things like breath work and yoga. There are exercise classes. There are doctors that will give free presentations. Yeah. So you go to our website, you can go to the navigation bar and see workshops, sign up for free and attend as long as you want, and learn a whole bunch of things. And something that's different about us, like I talk about my background as a veteran, as a Harvard and Stanford grad, and as a triathlete, because I put my name behind everything we do. We're out there in the open of who we are and who we serve, and our doctors. You'll see them all giving workshops. Our nutritionists are there too, along with our fitness instructors. They're all senior friendly. So it's a much more active community than you would get at a place that is simply offering telemedicine, or somebody that's just offering nutrition coaching, or maybe just a med spa, right? We're combining all those and putting it into a longevity club. And that's what we call it, the longevity club. So you can get advice from, if you want, from somebody like me, who's a 55-year-old triathlete who's trying a lot of these peptides, or from a 35-year-old professional nutrition coach who knows the latest about seniors' diets, or an orthopedic surgeon. You can talk to him about post-surgery recovery, and how to get over it and plan for it better. So all those things are free.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. I think, and the biggest challenge I think we all have is we're always going to do it tomorrow. We're going to do it next year. And we focus on the challenges to get it versus the possibility, right, that it's available. And that's where I would want to let you know, and let anyone listening know, if you're worried about money, that's what we do with seniors. Anyone 55 and older, usually they have quite a bit of equity in their home. They're scared to use it. They think they're going to lose their house. So we just show seniors, hey, do you think it might make sense to use a little bit of your equity to improve your health, improve your situation, and improve your finances? And so we can get into all the details, just like you can get one-on-one if someone wants to learn more about it. But we allow folks to borrow money without a monthly payment. They still own their house. They can still sell their house. They can still give their home to their kids. They're just not signing up for a huge payment. We just had a client, they had a $12,000 a month mortgage payment that made sense when they were working. Didn't make sense when they were retired. That we're working on making that down to zero.
Oh, that's great.
Lots of options. Lots of options. We just don't want, if what Tony's telling you today could benefit your lifetime, we all don't know how many days we have left. We don't want you to have money as the obstacle from feeling better and thriving in retirement.
Absolutely. Personally, I know it well. I just had my biological and metabolic ages tested 2 weeks ago. Okay. My biologic age was 28. I'm 55. My metabolic age, which is more like how the system works, me as a working machine, was 41. So I know I've put decades back on my life with these, and that is worth so much of an investment. For me, investing in healthcare is something I do. I'm not wealthy. I'm not making all kinds of unique investments. But investing in my health is something simple that I really believe in. So what you said, Matt, I think is right on for people that want to feel better, do better, be more active. I've also saved money because of some changes in habits that our coaching team has helped me with. Great, not only for my health, but my lifestyle and my wallet as well. When you're thinking sharper and more energetic, you do more, and it's great. That's happened to me.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, Tony, thank you for walking us through your story, telling us what you do and what you can help seniors and anyone, as a matter of fact, with. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that I should ask you you'd like to leave the audience with today?
I think maybe a motivational word for folks. When I was 48, I didn't think I would be able to compete and would be able to learn how to swim, learn how to ride a bike, things that I barely knew. I mean, I could never swam competitively or cycled before. So, looking at your 50s or 60s, you can learn just about anything with the discipline you have. And just maybe a little bit of motivation, or maybe, like in my case, a friend that gave me some ideas and a little bit of coaching. And with that, I transformed myself at that late of an age. So, it's never too late.
That's awesome. That's great. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, I had a similar story as yours, put on some weight over time. And then I told myself that my knees were hurting because, just older and sports and blah, blah, blah. And I started getting active and they started hurting more. And then so I went to my chiropractor, basically trying to find an excuse of why I shouldn't be working out. I mean, my knees are probably shot, right? This or that. And he actually was from Europe. And this is my best, I guess you could say, submarine pilot accent. He said, "Could your knees just be rusty?" Meaning, maybe you haven't done anything so long, they're going to hurt for a little bit. You're going back to Tin Man, but you got to work that rust off. And then, 30 pounds later, he was right. My knees don't hurt anymore. And, I've lost the weight and I'm active daily, trying to keep the weight from coming back on because it's pesky. It wants to come back.
Yeah. It wants to come back a little more every year, but that's right on. It's
we got to get moving, right? We got to get moving. Yeah. Well, man, that's awesome. Well, Tony, I really appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate what you're doing for seniors. And most importantly, I can tell you have a heart for service. You're out there trying to help people. And that's what this world needs, more people like you.
Great. Thanks. Yeah, you too, Matt. I really appreciate you having me on. It was great to talk. And I would love to talk with any of your listeners anytime.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, thank you again. We'll love to have you back. And I really do appreciate it. And thank you for watching the Serving Seniors podcast, where I highlight these awesome businesses like Tony that help seniors not survive, but thrive in retirement. Thanks again. We'll see you on the next episode. Hey, this is Matt Helton with OneTrust Home Loans, home of retirement mortgage solutions. And we really do appreciate you checking out the Serving Seniors podcast today. Now, please go to the description down in the body of the podcast where you can subscribe to get future shows. Please click that notification button so you get notified when other shows drop. And also, if you can go to servingseniourspodcast.com, and we'd love to hear a comment about our show. We have a heart to serve seniors, and we have a heart to make sure seniors don't just survive retirement, don't just get by in retirement. We want to show seniors how to thrive in retirement. So if you know of anyone that's 55 and older that could use some extra cash flow, maybe the retirement's not going the way that they like, our retirement mortgage solutions are designed for folks, and depending on the state, they're either 55 or 62 and older, to make sure that they have that kind of retirement that they want. As long as they own a home and they're in a good equity position, there could be some solutions that they may not have thought about, or maybe they've thought of and they just didn't know how they work. That's what we do. So anyone in that age group that could use some mortgage advice, my team and I would love to be able to help them. Thanks again, and look forward to seeing you on the next show. Have a great day.